Hey guys, welcome back to Young Americans Abroad, your best place for weekly content on young American soccer players playing overseas. My name's Austin Van Churn.
And my name's Patrick Ferry.
And welcome to our show. So guys, we're back this week. If you didn't realize that we didn't post last week, but you know, real life duties got in the way, unfortunately.
We're sorry to our fans there.
Yeah,
we know they're waiting for that
guys.
weekly quality content.
Yeah, we're not a bi-weekly show. we want to say that. But we're back this week. We got a really big show, jam-packed with a lot of performances over the past 2 weeks. So buckle in, get ready. So the first player we want to bring up today is Christian Pulisic. And the first game last weekend that he played in, he had a nice cross that ended up turning into a goal in Dortmund's 3-0 win over Stuttgart, which was a nice win for them. And Christian Pulisic actually kind of ignited Dortmund in that game with that goal because they weren't playing so hot up until that point.
It's good to see.
Yeah, it was a exciting goal to see. Obviously, it wasn't what he intended, and I guess it was more luck than it was skill.
The goal's the goal sometimes, right?
Goal's the goal, and it was cool. It was a cool goal to score. However, Christian Pulisic and Borussia Dortmund this past weekend against Schalke in their Riviera Derby against Schalke, like I just said, they lost 2-0. And Christian Pulisic played okay in this game. Looked dangerous at times, although Dortmund as a whole really just did not look cohesive.
Meshing right now, yeah.
No, not at all.
That's not good. He played 90 though, right? I'm pretty sure he played the entire game from what I saw.
Yeah, actually he did. You know, you're right. Yeah, I should be more prepared. But yeah, they used all three of their subs, and they took off some defensive players and brought on more attacking subs. So they did keep Christian Pulisic on for all 90 minutes. But yeah, it was an okay performance from him. And like I said, not a really good performance from Dortmund at all. They didn't really look good in that game right from the start. And Schalke really dominated them.
Now Schalke obviously is pulling farther ahead.
Right, yeah. So. Now they're commandingly in second. Dortmund, I believe, are tied for third right now, but they're actually in fourth based on goal differential with Bayer Leverkusen. So yeah, Dortmund slipping a little bit at the end of the season here. I believe they have 5 or 6 more games left. I need to look at the table.
Step up, Austin.
But yeah, we need him to step up maybe a little bit more than he has recently. But he has played better as of late, so that's good to see. But
maybe I should say the entire team. I apologize. I should say the entire team as a whole needs to step up.
Yeah, so. You could have been saying that since the beginning of the season. But we'll see how Dortmund ends their season. It's going to be a big next few games for them because they need some performances to stay in the Champions League position that they're currently in.
That's right.
So now we want to talk about Rubio Rubin, who actually did something really good this week, something he hasn't done in pretty much like 2.5 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And that was he scored a goal in the Xolos 3-0 win over Chivas Guadalajara over this past weekend. And Rubio Rubin actually played 17 minutes in that game. Looked pretty good in the game. Just saw a few highlights. Didn't really get to catch the whole game. But yeah, had a nice goal, dribbled around the goalkeeper, and then slotted it home.
That must be great for his confidence, Austin. Just like you said, it's been quite some time since he's scored a goal, and yeah, I know. I want to see.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been. I think Utrecht, right?
So it was actually September 22nd of 2015. He scored his final goal for Utrecht in their Dutch Cup, in the first round of their Dutch Cup. So that just shows you what kind of form he's been in over the past few years and how he has just been struggling to really get cohesion and just get together.
Yeah, jumping around a few teams and
run of goals. Yeah. He just has not been able to play well recently.
What a great
past few clubs.
But what a great success! Well, potentially
success
story.
It's still early.
He's had some trials and tribulations over the years, and to be able to kind of really, commit to staying at some fairly high-level competition clubs where he could have easily, went back and kind of almost settled. I don't want to say.
Yeah.
But he's really, shown from the outside, staying hungry, showing that initiative. Got called into that camp. It seems to kind of have rejuvenated his play and style a little more, and hopefully his career in general. But it's exciting to see, Austin. Then and we're going over to another league here.
That's right.
The Prem.
To the Prem, yeah.
With Deandre Yedlin, unfortunately for Austin, beating his
you got to bring it up.
His Arsenal side there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, 2-1.
Again.
won't go any more into that. But it was nice to see Yedlin got an assist there. It was a really, really beautiful assist. Nice time between him and the striker Perez there, Josi Perez. Yeah. Beautiful finish near post, but Yedlin just kind of put it right into his path. Great vision there, and again, Rafa Benitez seems to be turning this Newcastle team around as a whole, and Yedlin is definitely on the winning end of that. And is really developing, like we've mentioned before, and hopefully Newcastle can continue this run, and we'll see Yedlin. Let's hope.
I've really enjoyed the games I've watched Deandre Yedlin this year playing for Newcastle. He looks a lot more composed, I would say. Obviously, he makes a few mistakes here and there, but he looks a lot more confident going forward, I thought, this year from what I saw when he played at Sunderland 2 years ago. I didn't really catch much of him in the championship, but it's exciting to see Deandre Yedlin growing as a right back. And he's still young. He's only 24.
That's right, yeah.
He's got some more time to develop and get better and mature. So really
lead
exciting.
Us back to a World Cup one day.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope. You still got time.
And Austin, shifting gears here over to France.
Yeah.
Bring up another name we haven't talked about in a while.
Yeah, so we actually talked about him, I think, in the first episode. We went back and saw. But Jordan Siebatcheu, we're not sure if that's exactly how you pronounce it, especially recently with all these new names we've had to learn. But yeah, he actually scored 2 goals over the weekend for Stade de Reims in their 3-0 win over Paris FC. So this is actually really good to see from Jordan, because he's kind of been in and out of the first team there with Stade de Reims, who are currently on top of Ligue 2.
Right, so definitely going into
the second league in France.
The second league. So definitely, it seems like they're heading towards promotion there. So
it looks like it, because they're pretty far ahead of the second place team.
You're saying it's been a little kind of gap he's had scoring wise, or even just playing.
Right? Yeah, it looked like, and it was hard to find just because there's not too many articles that are translated from French on Stade de Reims, so it's been hard to really follow them all season and follow Jordan. But it looked like he had a little bit of a falling out with either the coach or the team and like upper management.
Something internal,
like about a month ago or so, he got pulled out of a game early, it looked like. So he's been in and out of the first team. Actually hasn't started a game until this past weekend for like the past 4 or 5 games, which was kind of concerning.
Yeah.
And he started off the season really good, scoring a lot of goals. Had up until I think January 12 goals and 7 assists. And this is his first goal, or first 2 goals this past weekend since January. So, good to see Jordan get back on the score sheet, and a player that hopefully we'll see coming up here over the next year or 2. We have some time now to try out some new players.
And I agree, Austin.
So it'd be nice to see him.
Going along with back to my point about the promotion there as well, and it was a little concerning that he had that potentially that internal struggle with whatever could have happened, but. Again, going to, being promoted to, a first-tier league in any league, I think you should note that most teams with more money bolster their players, and so it's good to see him getting on the score sheet there, but he's also going to have some, I'm predicting some stiffer competition there for that striker position, so hopefully he can rise above that, but I just want to kind of bring that point up as a team that's, moving up to a higher league.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's a good point to bring up, Pat. And also, he was considered, I would say, their best player on the team up until this bad run of form that started just at the beginning of this year. Just because he was leading, the second league in France in goal scoring. So he's a player that's looked at as a prospect, as a hot prospect from what I saw in the first part of the season. Also got called up to the French U21s last year. So he's a player that, Stade de Reims seemed to value, or at least seemed to value in the past. And is a player that looks like he has some sort of a future with France at the moment, even though he hasn't been called up, and I believe close to a year now. So I hope that, they don't go, when they do get promoted, they don't go out and buy a new striker and hopefully give Jordan an opportunity come next year. But he has to earn it. He has to continue to earn it, and it looks like he is earning it. And hopefully, his France future is starting to dwindle, and he comes over and plays for us. He can also play for Cameroon. He's a tri-national, so he has 3 nations that he could play for. But I would hope he plays for America based on everything we can offer him, because right now our striker position's a little bare. We need a striker to really come in and score goals for us, and he's a poacher. He's like 6'3", I believe.
We definitely need someone
big
like that.
Striker who isn't too skillful on the ball, but is able to put the ball in the back of the net, which is what we've been looking for recently. I want to say over and over again. But so exciting from Jordan. We'll continue to monitor. Hopefully we'll get more minutes towards the end of the season here and score some more goals and really show that he's a player that hopefully we could take advantage of in the future and call into a camp in the coming days. Hopefully in the June friendlies against Ireland and France.
That's right, yeah.
That would be
some other opportunities.
It'd be nice to get him in there. But now we want to move over to Sweden and talk about a player we've talked about before, and that would be Romain Gall. So Pat, how did Romain Gall do this past weekend?
That's right, yeah. So he had a really good game against a strong Malmo side there.
Okay.
So they ended up drawing 2-2 there. GIF Sundsvall, not GIF.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, or GIF.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he had a nice assist. He's kind of making a back post run there, and the ball fell to him. Didn't have that correct angle to go for it in goal, so he kind of smartly held on to it, was a little patient, and played it right across the goal line there. And striker finished it off there it was a game-tying goal. But really good stuff from him, really active during that game. And I know we were during preseason as well, a lot of reviews were coming about how he was getting some goals and assists and starting strong for his some good articles on him there, and it's good to see him producing during the regular season, and hopefully continues this run. And I know let's hope, but I know it's a player that is kind of not really on many people's radars, but one that we wanted to mention there, Austin.
Yeah, because he's 23, so he's a little older than I think he's 23. I'm pretty sure he's 23. So he's a little older than a lot of the other prospects we've been talking about, and his future. He doesn't have as much of a future, I guess I should say, as some of these other players.
Ouch,
but
no.
definitely a player that I think could make his way into the men's national team, especially when we're trying to, experiment with a few different players, and we have some time to experiment. So hopefully, Romain Gall continues to perform, and we get to see him in red, white, and blue soon. But
kicking it back to you, Austin.
Oh yeah, thanks. Let me take my phone.
Another player that we've been talking about all throughout our show.
Yeah, and that's Andreea Novakovich. And
that's right.
He played.
We got it right this time.
Yeah, he played 2 games for Telstar over the past 2 weeks, and in the first game, he actually scored a goal in their 3-2 win over FC Emmen. And then this past weekend, he actually drew a penalty in their win over FC Utrecht's U21 team. So again, Andreea really performing well this season. Now has 20 goals in the Eerste Divisie over there in Holland, and
that's good stuff.
And yeah, he's come back from his U.S. men's national team cameo. Has looked very strong, just like he did before he got called up to the men's national team. So good to see that Andreea seems to be finishing the season strong.
Right.
And Telstar is still in that promotional hunt right now, so they really need him to play well. They still need to win some games to hopefully secure promotion. But it's exciting to see some positive play again from Andreea, and that he's sustaining this play throughout the entire season, which is really exciting.
Definitely, and when players get called in the camps, and just settling back into a team, maybe it takes a little adjustment or so. But like Austin mentioned, Novakovich really is kind of just hasn't skipped a beat, you could say.
Yeah,
and finish this season. Hopefully can continue this run and finish this season confidently, and go back to his parent club there and see what we can do from there.
Let's hope. Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah, but also another player that we haven't talked about yet. And I'm excited to do a little bit more about this player here in the second Bundesliga there.
Yeah, and that would be Kevin Langford. So I've touched on him a little bit on my Bund Americans account, but he's a German American 19-year-old, plays for FC Heidenheim in the 2 Bundesliga. Had a nice run through the defense this weekend. They played Fortuna Dusseldorf and had an assist actually on their 3rd goal against Fortuna in a 3-1 win. So Kevin Langford's a player to keep your eye on. He's played 344 minutes this year in the 2 Bundesliga for Heidenheim, which is pretty good for a 19-year-old. He's a left winger, sometimes plays on the right. So he's a player that looks to have a future, because Heidenheim has only, I believe, well, I should put it this way. He's their youngest player on their roster right now.
Oh, wow, okay.
So that says something for him, and it says something for his position within that club. But like I said, he's gotten a decent amount of games this year, 344 minutes, which is over 10 games, I believe, in the 2 Bundesliga. So that's some pretty consistent game time for a young player.
Yeah, for 90, yeah.
Yeah, and got an assist this weekend, which is always good to see. And it was a big win for them, too, because right now Heidenheim are in 13th place in the 2 Bundesliga.
It's pretty tight there, right?
Yeah, it's very tight from like positions maybe like 5 to, I want to say like 16 or 15. They're separated by like 4 or 5 points in the 2 Bundesliga. So every point matters. And Fortuna Dusseldorf is actually the first place team in the 2 Bundesliga. So Heidenheim's win this weekend was, like I said, crucial. A very, very big win for them, and a good result and a good performance. But yeah, now we want to go back to the Portuguese league and touch on Keaton Parks real quick.
That's
so, Pat,
right. Yeah,
how did Keaton Parks do this past weekend?
Yeah, so Keaton Parks, unfortunately, he did play 90 for Benfica B's team in a 1-0 loss there, but the previous weekend, which I should mention, he had a really nice header for a nice goal there.
That's right.
Just towered over the center back there, kind of a looping header over the goalie onto that upper right corner there. But I should mention, in 25 appearances for Keaton Parks, he has 6 goals, Austin has 6 assists. In a few appearances, like we've mentioned, for the first team there in Benfica. Obviously, right now they're in a tight race with a tough loss recently to Porto there. So they're kind of neck and neck there. I'm sure he won't be seeing too much time there. But it is exciting to see that he's really performing, again, like we've mentioned, way above Benfica B level, and should either see, there's a crucial time for him, this off season coming up, where he can integrate himself into that first team, or I don't want to say it, but go on loan somewhere and play consistent first team minutes, which I don't think will happen, but
it's hard to tell right now.
It's hard to tell, exactly. But player that Austin, we've been pretty high on since the start of the show.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. And now we want to touch on our final player, and that is Sergio Dest, who actually had a really nice goal. I believe it was last weekend. It might have been this past weekend. Yeah. But he had a really nice goal. Also had an assist for Ajax's U19s in their win. Their 6-2 win, I believe, over Vitesse's U19s. And yeah, Sergio Dest is a player we haven't brought up really before. We might have talked about him a little bit when we talked about Chris Gloucester moving to Hanover. But a player that played at the U17 World Cup this past fall. I thought he was probably the U.S.'s second best outside back in that tournament, behind Jalen Lindsay. He looked really good going forward, maybe not so good defending, but he looked, like I said, very good in attack. He had some very dangerous crosses that whole tournament, played somewhat sparingly just because they were trying to rotate their outside backs a lot, but Sergio Dest is definitely a player that has a bright future, especially if he sticks with the U.S., which it looks like he will for the foreseeable future.
That's right, because he's a dual, right?
Yeah, that's right. He's a dual national with the Netherlands. He's a Holland-Dutch player, so as well. But yeah, like I said, he looked very good in the U17 World Cup, in a really good position with Ajax. Has played, I believe, close to 1,200 minutes for their U19 team this year. So that shows that he's a player that they want to give minutes to. He's a player that they're prioritizing and starting in most of their games for the U19. So we'll keep an eye on Sergio Dest, and we're excited about him. He looks like a very good prospect that could really help us out in the future.
And now, you guys already know, quick kicks.
So you could test Dwayne Miller. It's Altidore over the wall, and that one is in! Josie Altidore from a long way out. The opening goal for the United States.
Start things off here. Anthony Robinson played in a 2-2 draw against Barnsley.
And Wes McKennie came on for the final 19 minutes of Schalke's 2-0 win over Dortmund this past weekend.
And Matt Miazga played about 73 minutes in a thrashing of Sparta Rotterdam, 7-0.
And Nick Tategui actually played 90 minutes in Schalke U19's 3-0 win over the weekend.
And Lyndon Gooch, who we've talked about great performances, unfortunately suffered some injuries and possible illness recently, which kept him out of the games.
So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and also the like button.
That's right, and make sure, again, to follow our social media pages. Our Instagram and Twitter pages are going off the charts right now. You don't want to miss anything.
That's right. And also leave a comment in the comment section below. We'd love to interact with you guys.
And Austin, I know we have that one saying
that
true. After all these great players we're talking about and this great content we're giving you guys,
of course,
one
absolutely.
day.
One day we will win the World Cup. One day.